Our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag. This that you've just seen, the perlage, you need to be very skilled and very
Some of Hermes products are made in China. Towels are from Fuyue in Shandong. They also make products for Chanel and IKEA. Beddings are from Yue in Shandong. Men's shoes are from Shachi in Shandong.
The luxury empire is spiraling, full-on panic mode. The very same Chinese factories that were quietly crafting Hermes' most prized bags are now flipping the script and exposing the billion-dollar truth. And it's shaking up the fashion industry like never before. These aren't your average bootleg factories. Nah, these are the exact manufacturers that actually made the real deal. The same Birkins and Kellys that Hermes sells for over $20,000 a pop. And now they're spilling everything. From shady behind-the-scenes tactics to viral TikToks and actual receipts, they're revealing what really goes down under those Made in France labels. Spoiler alert, it ain't what you think. This bombshell is tearing apart the polished image Hermes has been selling for years, and the brand's scrambling to do damage control. But guess what? The cat's already out of the bag, and the internet is eating it up. Let's rewind to the original lie that started this whole mess. For decades, Hermes pushed a dreamy image, bags lovingly handmade by French artisans in romantic little Parisian workshops. You picture someone in a crisp white coat, delicately stitching leather under soft lighting while jazz hums in the background, right? Dead wrong. Insiders and leaked proof from Tanner Leatherstein reveal the real deal. Up to 80% of these so-called French luxury bags are being made in China. And we're not talking about just assembling parts. Everything from cutting to stitching, threading to leatherwork is happening overseas. Then they ship them off to France for a final touch-up, slap on that fancy label, and boom, you're looking at a $20,000 French bag. Hermes takes a bag made in China, adds a button or stamp in France, and just like that, bam! It's suddenly labeled Made in France. That's the whole trick.
They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that.
So when those Chinese factories started exposing receipts and telling the real story, Hermes totally flipped out. That's where Tanner Leatherstein comes in, the ultimate whistleblower of the luxury world. And no, he's not just some random guy making noise online. He's a leather expert with serious cred, known for slicing open luxury bags on camera to show what brands are really selling. His content goes crazy viral because he doesn't just talk, he shows the proof. He was the first to call out Chanel for faking it, exposing that their supposed real gold hardware wasn't so real after all, and that they were using cheap plastic-coated leather. He didn't stop there. He came for Louis Vuitton, Bottega Veneta, and yeah, he went hard on Hermes too.
In Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way, because some brands get real creative when it comes to made.
Tanner broke it down and proved that the leather in these high-end bags, no better than what you'd find in a $100 knockoff. He even revealed that the true cost to make a Birkin bag, around $600. Not $14,000, not $38,000, just $600. And that even includes quality leather and metal hardware. Now imagine Hermes watching all of this unfold in real time. Viral videos exposing their secrets, receipts being shared, and millions of people waking up to the truth. Their worst nightmare just came to life, because here's the wildest part. Those Chinese factories weren't making fakes. They were producing the real bags for Hermes. And now they're the ones blowing the whistle, exposing that 80% of the work happens in China. Only the finishing touches get added in France.
It's the Chinese supplier behind products. Bags are from Siton Handbag in Dongguan City, Guangdong Province. It's a factory specializing in handbags for 54 years, and it produces 80% of the world luxury bags.
But Hermès still cashes in by selling the illusion of French luxury, while hiding who's really doing the labor. So what does Hermès do now that the truth's out? Do they admit it? Apologize? Not a chance. Instead, they're clapping back with lawsuits. Yup, Hermès is dragging multiple Chinese factories to court, accusing them of misusing intellectual property and straight-up defamation. Translation? They're basically saying, how dare you tell the world our bags aren't really made in France? But here's the plot twist. These same Chinese manufacturers were under contract with Hermès and other luxury brands. They weren't doing anything shady. They were legally making the bags. Now that they've spoken out, Hermès is pretending they've never even heard of these factories. Like, seriously? Let's break it down. Hermès raked in $15.2 billion in 2024. That's millions of bags sold. And if it takes 2 whole days to handcraft just one Birkin, then where's this magical army of French artisans working 24/7 to meet that demand? Exactly. It's not adding up.
The finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. There are no manuals or cheat sheets. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
The math is off, the story is shaky, and it's looking real suspicious. And Hermès isn't the only one playing this game. Other luxury giants like Prada, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton are all in on it too. They'll produce 98% of a product in China, then slap on a zipper or button in Italy just so they can legally throw a Made in Italy tag on it. It's all smoke and mirrors, a marketing hustle. And shoppers? They've been buying into the illusion for years because of the fancy image and high-end reputation. But now, the curtain's being pulled back and folks are waking up. Resale prices are already slipping. People are realizing they dropped $25,000 on a bag that came from the same exact factory as a $400 dupe. That prestige, it's starting to crack. Now that Tanner's tearing these bags apart, literally, he's finding that a lot of them claiming to be full calfskin are actually made with cheap plastic-coated leather. And collectors? They're getting nervous. Buyers? They're pissed. Because if Hermès isn't really about top-tier quality or expert craftsmanship, then what did everyone pay for? Just the illusion of a brand? The big myth that Western luxury brands have been selling for years is this: China equals low quality. But that's straight up outdated. Chinese factories today are on a whole other level. They've got the materials, the skilled workers, and the high-end machines. In fact, a bunch of your favorite luxury brands are being made in the same factories as knockoffs and mid-tier brands. Only difference? That fancy tag stitched at the end. That's it. So when someone says it's made in China, don't get it twisted. That bag might actually be better than something made in France. There are tons of stories floating around now. People getting factory extras with no logos. But guess what? They're the exact same as those $1,000 bags. One creator even said she bought UGG boots from the same factory as the real deal, only difference? No label. Cost her just $5. The truth is, the only thing separating luxury from dupe is branding. Western media has brainwashed folks to think China equals low-grade junk and Europe equals classy and elite. But once you start digging, it's all marketing smoke. These luxury houses, most of them are owned by massive private equity firms, just money machines pumping out overpriced stuff for people who haven't caught on yet. Tanner Leatherstein isn't repping any brand. He's not out here trying to sell you a product or push some fancy label. He's just showing receipts, literally. He breaks down the materials, explains the quality, and keeps it real. He even sliced open his own $1,800 designer wallet collection just to prove a point. And what did he find? Straight up disappointment every single time. But let's keep it real for a sec. These luxury brands wouldn't be where they are today without celebrities flashing them like trophies. You really think stars are just buying Birkins and Chanel bags for fun? Please, most of them are either gifted or getting paid to rock them. It's called strategic placement. The brand drops a $60,000 bag in Cardi B's hands, she flexes it on Instagram, and boom! Now every influencer and fashion wannabe is scrambling to get one. People think they're buying luxury, but what they're actually chasing is celebrity approval. Remember when Kylie Jenner gave that Hermès closet tour? The internet went crazy. But be honest, how many of those bags were even bought with her own money? And even if they were, how many were really made in France? Or quietly stitched up in a back room in Shenzhen? And it's not just celebs anymore. Influencers are out here playing the same game, flexing bags they didn't buy, hyping up brands they don't even wear off camera, and pushing that same luxury fantasy that's starting to fall apart. TikTok and Instagram are flooded with luxury unboxings, designer hauls left and right. But here's the truth most won't tell you. Half of those bags weren't even bought. They're PR drops or part of brand deals. These creators are cashing big checks to show off bags they didn't spend a dime on, while pushing the idea that you need a designer bag to matter. Meanwhile, the brands, they're laughing all the way to the bank, turning 600 bags into 26,000 gold mines just because it showed up on your FYP. And nowhere is the hype heavier than with the infamous Birkin bag. Somehow, this bag became the ultimate status flex. But here's the wild part. Hermès doesn't even let just anybody buy one. You can't stroll in and grab it off a shelf. First, you gotta build a purchase history, which means dropping thousands on belts, scarves, and random accessories before you even qualify to be offered a Birkin. That's not luxury, that's a luxury cult, and folks are lining up to be part of it. Now let's talk resale. A few years back, people were flipping Birkins like they were flipping condos. Fast cash, big hype. But since Tanner blew the lid off the secrets and factory leaks started spreading, resale prices are dropping fast. If the exclusivity's fake, the craftsmanship's shaky, and the bags are made in the same places as the dupes, why would anyone keep paying top dollar? The vibe has shifted. Resellers are sweating. Investors panicking. The so-called bag gold mine might have just turned into fool's gold. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Tons of celebs and influencers out here are flexing dupes. Not the real thing, but still tagging the actual luxury brands. Why? Simple. They want to stay trendy without going broke. Some insiders even claim stylists intentionally buy fakes, tag the brands for clout, and get invited to Fashion Week off the strength of the illusion. Yeah, the whole system is built to reward the look, not the truth, not the authenticity. So next time you see your fave celeb flexing a luxury bag, don't assume it's real. Don't even assume they care. For them, it's not about the craftsmanship, it's all about branding. Branding is what sells. The bag is just the prop. So who's really winning in all this? The brands, still stacking millions. Celebs? Still collecting their bags and appearance checks? Influencers? Still getting PR packages and red carpet invites? You know who's not winning? You, the regular shopper. You're the one dropping a whole month's rent on a bag that might have been sewn together in a back room in Guangzhou, all because it had the right tag and showed up on your feed. So the question is, are you buying quality or just chasing the illusion? Hermès is going full-blown legal warfare. The brand is now reportedly launching a wave of lawsuits against Chinese manufacturers who dared to expose them, and this ain't no one-off move. Multiple factories are being hit with accusations like defamation and misuse of intellectual property. But let's be real, what they're really mad about is getting exposed. The receipts are out there, and Hermès is trying to clean up a mess that's already gone viral. And the timing couldn't be worse. Ever since the US cracked down with heavy tariffs on Chinese imports, global brands have been forced to reveal where their goods really come from. And for Hermès, that truth cuts deep. Because when most of your made-in-France bags are being stitched up in Shenzhen, you've got a serious branding crisis. This whole scandal didn't just call out one company, it cracked open the entire illusion of luxury. These brands aren't about pure craftsmanship anymore. They're selling perception. They're pushing an image, a fantasy. But now that illusion's slipping and the empire, it's starting to shake. Hermès isn't just trying to protect its reputation, they're fighting to survive. Because if the public fully accepts that most of these high-end bags are made in the same factories as mid-tier or even dupe brands, people won't just question Hermès. They'll start looking sideways at Louis Vuitton, Prada, Chanel, all of them. The second made in France loses its sparkle, luxury loses its power. And now, Hermès is scrambling, firing off lawsuits, pointing fingers, trying to silence the very factories that helped build their empire. But it might be too late because the genie's out of the Birkin, baby, and the internet never forgets. Now that the truth's out, are you really still dropping $20,000 on a bag that might have been stitched in the same building as your Amazon package, or even your favorite dupe from DHgate? Let's be honest. Would you still flex that bag if the tag said made in China instead of France? If this made you side-eye your favorite luxury brand, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe if you want more fashion drama, real talk, and behind-the-scenes tea they don't want you to hear. And hit the comments. Should celebs be held accountable for hyping up overpriced products? Are luxury brands even worth the wild price tags anymore? Would you still buy that Birkin if the truth was stitched on the inside? This rabbit hole runs deep, and trust me, the next video is just as wild, just as messy, maybe even worse. See you on the next one.